Hello, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. Welcome back to myself, Eric Sfiligoj, editor of Crop Life Iron, and of course, Lara Sowinski. Laura, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you.
Yep, looks like you're back in your friendly confines, and I'm, of course, in the studio as usual. But yeah, we have a lot of information to share with viewers this week. I know last week was a special Raven Ignite edition with just myself kind of being interviewed on camera. So hope the viewers enjoyed that. So we'll get to what you were doing in a moment here. But again, I want to start out. One of the things we've been talking about a lot recently, and I just did a column in our e-news about it, is a lot of companies in ag are, instead of merging or consolidation, they're actually partnering with one another. And we just had a story regarding a partnership that was between Growmark and CHS, looking to collaborate to make things more efficient and easier on their customer base. But I ran across an item. This one's under the technology heading. Our friends at Deere and Company have now announced they're going to have an agreement and a collaboration with the folks at SpaceX, and that's going to provide cutting edge satellite communications, SATCOM services to their customers in conjunction with the Starlink John Deere system. So, according to this note, the solution will connect both new and existing machines through satellite internet service. And this will fully enable technologies such as real time data sharing, remote diagnostics, enhanced self repair, and autonomy, of course, which again is a big buzzword for this year in 2024. Um, yeah, so again, good news for folks who are John Deere customers, that they will now have access to SpaceX technology going forward into the spring growing season.
Yeah, when I saw that news headline as well, that really caught my attention. So glad you gave us a little bit more detail on it. Great item.
Yeah, well, and again, I guess technology has been your forte in the last week. So if you could share with our viewers where you've been and what technology, innovation, and information you have been able to collect from your trip.
Yes, indeed. We are back from the Vision Conference, Vision 2024. We met in Glendale, Arizona, this past week. I have to say, there was so much and so many takeaways. Both our Women in Ag Tech meeting, which was just prior to the start of Vision Conference. So that was on Monday, the 22nd. So much to unpack, and honestly, so much to kind of sort through and reflect upon. But you're right. I mean, technology, AI and ag was the prevailing theme without a doubt at the conference. In just so many ways that we explored it and kind of really ran it through the rigors of, trying to tease out what part of it is really applicable. How do we get to that? Just kind of digging deeper and deeper. So, part of the exercise that we did at the Vision Conference this year, which was a really nice addition to the program, we had keynotes. In fact, Brian Lutz from Corteva, his keynote explored tech enablers and solutions and kind of the differences between the two and where generative AI um, fits in, particularly as a technology enabler. But the Tiger teams that we did, these were three breakouts. Each of the three Tiger teams were presented with a challenge. And then we had myself, our colleague Renee Targus from Agribusiness Global, and one of our women in ag tech attendees were assigned to each of these rooms for an hour-long challenge that had like a table leader, if you will. And then we went. We took an hour after the breakouts concluded, wrapped up our notes. We had a Google Doc going, so we all were contributing. And then we had the table leaders on stage convene for a report out of what we discussed in the breakouts. And there was so much wonderful info from that. I mean, that would be a mini conference in itself, just those breakouts. But I was assigned to the AI and data usage breakout. So I have some really good little bullet point takeaways. So let me run down a couple of these for you and get a sense of how deep these discussions were, and honestly, like, really exploring, is there a viable path forward for this? If so, how? What are the real use cases? Some of the questions and considerations we started with to kind of frame the discussion. Is the data usable? Like, how accurate is the data you get? What's feeding it? Obviously, good data in equals good data out. Risk, who has access to the data? Liability, just like ethics, liability is a consideration. Bias, we always need to make sure that, it's, we talked before about gender bias, particularly with AI and stuff. And so that's a consideration as well. And the data, is it accessible? Is it cleaned up? And again, that's kind of that good data in, good data out kind of scenario. And then likewise, the regulatory compliance and the complexities. Okay, so these are some of the considerations. So what are the solutions? Some of the things that were mentioned as far as AI, generative AI, customer communications used to improve and streamline, deliver more timely responses to your customer. Equipment diagnostics, that was another one. Financing, which we haven't heard a lot of yet, but so can financial solutions be better aggregated for the grower? For instance, maybe exploring like what grants are available, what am I qualified for? Remove the friction, if you will, so the farmer can get paid quicker. Insurance claims can be settled quicker as well. Crop marketing, that was another one. Can AI assist with this? Timely decision support, faster than humans, of course. And then another one possible solution was filling in the data gaps. And the example that one of the persons mentioned was that sometimes with satellite imagery, clouds are obscuring some of what you're able to see. However, with AI, AI can enhance that to give you a complete picture, seeing that, knowing what's there, so that it can kind of fill in those gaps, if you will. I thought that was a really unique possible solution. And then I guess just the last thing we discussed in the breakout. So, okay, what are the next steps? Using generative AI to provide guardrails, checks and balances, if you will. Using it to validate feasibility and impacts. For instance, kind of like the modeling scenario. You kind of want to shoot high, like what, how feasible is this? Whatever it is you're trying to propose. Using AI to calibrate equipment. Helping growers to ask better questions. Someone mentioned with regards to farm management software, using it for automated push notifications to deploy AI-developed daily irrigation schedules and weather data. Again, kind of really just finding the ways not to replace the human, but to really enhance that decision making, and to take the friction out of things, to make it faster. During Brian Lutz's keynote, he was talking about how AI is being used with regards to developments in like R&D in the labs. What used to take say 1 year and $100,000 plus to develop certain seed characteristics and such. He says these things can happen now in seconds for a couple bucks. I mean, it's just, when you when you take something like that and you squeeze it down to, I mean, it's kind of really astounding with what's being done. But I think really, again, AI, and just kind of like one last thought. And again, Brian mentioned this in his keynote, where when a technology like AI comes along, I mean, maybe first experiences aren't good, or there's a lot of doubt as to where and how it can be applied. But he reminded us all that really the commercialization of technologies such as AI really do take a number of years to mature in advance. So while it seems like, maybe some people, are still kind of in the doubting stage, or, kind of prove it to me first before we jump in with both feet. He said that's a natural part of the process, and we're really, you know, just in line with what would be a natural, arc as far as how long it takes to mature. So again, this was just one tiny part of the conference. I'll probably be talking about it at least for the next couple or 3 weeks, but plenty more to come. But I just have to say, honestly, it was one of the best conferences and events that I've attended ever. Honestly, the content was so rich. The people that were there, the discussions. I mean, it was one of the best. I mean, I really proud to say it was a conference that was so worthwhile. Our team was great, as they always are, and I think it was just a success from beginning to end.
No, very good. Well, appreciate that little snapshot, at least of one aspect of what went on at Vision. And as you said, in the next couple of weeks' videos, we'll be sharing some more information on other things that were said and heard at Vision. And for those who want to read an in-depth report on this, check out the March issue of Crop Life magazine, because we'll be doing our show wrap-up there. So,
Yep,
all right. Well, thanks for that,
of
Laura.
course.
So hey, I've got some news to share. This again, I know we're in 2024, but again, there's still one look back on 2023. Folks wanted to know, of course, how the crops did, and in particular, we're interested in corn and soybean. Those are the two that we are interested in. And I ran across this from the USDA. They released their crop production 2023 summary. And for corn, it was a very good year. Corn for grain production soared to an historic high of 15.3 billion bushels. That was a 12% increase from the estimate that they had given out for 2023. And also, the average yield is hit an all-time high, 177.3 bushels per acre, and that's up 3.9 bushels from 2022. So for corn, very good year. For soybean, soybean a little more mixed. The production total was 4.16 billion bushels. That was a 2% decrease from 2022. But even with that, the average yield per acre increased to 50.6 bushels, which was up 1 bushel from 2022. So again, if you want to have more information, check out the USDA crop production 2023 summary report, and you can see how the other crops did. But that's how the news was for corn and soybean.
That's great. That is good news. I mean, actually, pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, no, I know that, that average, when I hear talks about, the average yield per acre and what it used to be, it's like some of the numbers now are like, I, would have thought they would have been unattainable,
Yeah.
but we're attaining them.
Nope.
So very, very good.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Laura. Well, I know we didn't do it last week because it was a special video, but it's time for your favorite segment of the show. Time for Fun with Numbers. All right.
No wonder I was so
So,
relaxed last week, because I didn't didn't have to struggle through fun with numbers.
That's true. That's true. And I will give you a little hint here. These are all going to be similar things.
Okay.
This past week, I was at the Illinois Fertilizer and Chemical Association annual meeting in Peoria, and I thanks, of course, to KJ Johnson and Leslie Forrest and all the folks at IFCA for their hospitality. And one of their speakers at that event was Jason Newton from Nutrient, and he was talking about fertilizer, the fertilizer outlook for 2024, and he shared a bunch of number oriented tidbits. So I thought I would make a fun with numbers, all centered around what he was talking about.
Okay.
So your number this week is a range, 2 out of 5.
I had
Okay,
like those story problems when I was in elementary school and the train's going 50 miles an hour and it was like, no.
not not quite that complicated,
Okay.
but
Two out of
it's
five.
2 out of 5.
Okay.
So is 2 out of 5, is that A, the number of people in the world that owe their lives to fertilizer? Is it B, the number of fertilizer users located outside of the United States? Is it C, the number of corn crops that utilize fertilizer versus all other major crops? Or is it D, the number of flights on my recent trip that actually left on time?
Eric, seriously. People just don't appreciate you enough on the it's like the best
I,
every
I,
week.
I, I know when we've done videos and live events, when I get to the D option, usually half the audience breaks up. So somebody else thinks it's funny, which is good.
Oh gosh. I'm going with B.
B, the number of fertilizer users located outside the US. No, I'm sorry. That range would be 9 out of 10. Okay.
I can't believe I didn't get
And
that
then for
right.
and then for option C, which is also incorrect, the number of corn crops that utilize fertilizer versus all other major crops, that's 1 out of 2. So the correct answer is A, the number of people in the world that owe their lives to fertilizer,
Really?
two out
Okay.
of five.
Oh,
Yep. That's according to Jason Nutrient. So
thank
yeah, 2 out of 5 people on the planet alive today are alive and eating well because of fertilizer innovation that has taken place over the last century.
okay. All right. Well, we can't argue with that.
Well, as I always say, or have been saying most recently, better luck next week.
Well, thank you. Well, I keep on coming back because I really do like D all the time. Like, what, what is Eric going to come up with now?
Yeah, and in that case, it was actually 3 out of 5.
Oh,
That was the number on D. So, all
well,
right.
you're up.
So, thank you everyone for joining us for this edition of Crop Life Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj. On behalf of myself, Lara Sowinski, and everyone here at Crop Life, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.